Heads up, everybody, this video contains spoilers for Monster High the movie. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't listen or watch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my world where no matter how old you get, you never need to grow up and you're never too old to curl up with a blankie in the dark and watch the premiere of Monster High the movie. Oh my gosh, that was an experience. I waited all day. Even though I could have watched it in the morning, I waited until the sun went down because I wanted it to be dark when I watched it. It's just a thing I wanted to do. So I waited and I was like trying not to look at social media too much. And it was really fun. And my husband he didn't sit down and watch it with me because there was football on, but he was in and out and Caden was in and out while I was watching it. And I had to pause it a couple times and I was like, I missed something. Now I have to rewind. But I'm really glad I waited until it was dark because I was all cozy with my cats and it was fun. Like from the beginning of the movie, I was hooked. I was into that story, which surprised me because I'm not the target audience. And in general, like, I haven't been a big fan of movies like High School Musical and Camp Rock, and those just aren't my thing. And again, not the target audience. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed the movie, how much I really liked so many of the characters, except for, spoiler alert, Heath. I don't know what, I'm like, what did you do to him? What'd you do to my boy? Oh my gosh. That was just really disappointing. It really was. But, I mean, Frankie, they are just iconic in so many ways. I found myself relating to every single one of the characters. Certainly, I would consider, you've got the three ghouls. I don't know, do we need to come up with a different word? Because I feel like ghouls is a stand-in for girls, ghouls and mansters. So then that kind of is alienating Frankie. Anyway, the movie is centered on Claudine from the start, but then also Draculaura's story is really important. Then also Frankie, they're there trying to figure it all out, and so as the movie progresses, we really get to know Frankie, and at first it felt like they were comic relief, which is fine. And they were so good at it. Cece, the actor portraying Frankie, they are so talented in physical comedy. And it was interesting watching the progression of Frankie's physicality as the days go by at school. They become better able to control their body. And I honestly, I feel like if there was anybody in the movie that I identified with the most, it was Frankie. And so they were very kind of comic relief in a way, but then as the movie goes on, they had some really great moments that I think were so relatable. I think, I was upset in the beginning that Ghoulia does not seem to be coded as a neurodivergent person in this universe of the movie, but I really feel like Frankie is. And there's this great scene where Frankie talks about how they have all of these different parts of their brain and like all of these genius parts of their brain, and sometimes getting it to come together is hard, and how also they're such genius and all of these brilliant people's chunks in their brain, but the people and friendships part just seems completely mystifying. And I thought that the dialogue was written really, really well, and I just felt I related to that so much. And I think the beautiful thing of it is it's relatable on multiple levels. And I think Frankie is relatable on multiple levels. It's like a kaleidoscope of ways to relate to Frankie. There's the the potential neurodivergence in that kind of conversation, but also, don't we all feel like that, like in middle school and high school? And also, if you take into consideration the 2 years of isolation and just weird social, just society life that we just are, we're coming out of, and for so many young kids, and I think kids of all ages, like 54, we're trying to figure out how to do people again. And for Frankie, they're trying to figure it out for the first time. So I was just, I resonated so much, but then there was just such funny moments, like, that's a pickle. There's so many lines, like, I want to watch it again tonight. Caden saw parts of it with me, but they were, talking to friends, so they just kept coming in and out. So I'm like, okay, no, I really want you to watch this with me because it was really cool. Now, I also Draculaura's story, extremely relatable in so many ways. Claudine's story, so relatable. Deuce's story was, I think, I kind of related, like, college me was actually vibing with Deuce because I screwed up a lot in college, and college was challenging. And at the same time, I was free for the first time, so I made a lot of bad life choices. And, 50-cent mug night at the pub, just very attractive. I really related to Deuce's wanting to be a different person this year at school. And friends like Heath, from the years before, trying to be like, nah, come on, man, and Deuce being like, no, look, I don't want to be that person anymore. And I think that's so relatable. A person who is trying to be better or different. They want to be more true to themselves. They're still figuring out what that means. And they're having to do this in an environment. And I certainly think, in the American school system where you go to school for 12 years, many people go to school for 12 years with the same kind of groups of the same people. And, when you're like, no, I don't want to be that person that you know me as. I'm changing. My values are evolving. I'm evolving as a person, and I'm not that person anymore. Or I don't want to be that person anymore. I want something better, something different. And I thought that was so good to put into a character. So I really loved Deuce's character. I'm totally wigged out about the Deuce and Claudine thing, but I also think it's very sweet, and I think it's kind of like Cleo either needs to get on board with who Deuce wants to be, or he's not going to want to be part of that relationship. But it's also weird. I also saw a little like Heath and Abby thing happening in there, and just for a moment, and I was like, oh, okay, we're kind of keeping that. At the same time, I was like, no, Abby, he's a douche. Hopefully Heath will have evolution. But the thing is that I feel like I want there to be more of this story. And I know that the animated series is yet another universe. So the story in the animated series is going to be different. Certainly Draculaura's character in the animated series, from what I've seen so far, seems much different in tone than the way Draculaura is portrayed in the movie. But I thought there was really great character development with Draculaura as well. Musically, I like the first two songs that we've all heard, and then the last song where Claudine is basically like, I'ma be me, I really liked that. Deuce's song, the Deuce Claudine scene with the song was a little cringe for me, but again, not the target audience. And so I have to listen to the soundtrack a few more times. Couple of questions I have. One question in particular. What Claudine was doing, trying to get the venom out of one of Deuce's snakes, was that crossing a boundary in it? I was not okay with that. And I just felt, I wasn't good with that scene. That scene was really uncomfortable for me, which is probably why the song hit me in a weird way, because I was yelling at the television while that was happening. That felt wrong. That felt wrong. And the other thing that hit me wrong, and I was like, I asked my husband and my son both, like, am I overreacting? Am I being like a Karen who's being outraged when there's nothing to be outraged about? The scene where, and as I said, spoilers, where Draculaura gives Cleo the zit on her nose. Now, that's a funny prank like that. I mean, so many worse things were done to people in movies that I watched in my heyday. I mean, it's like every John Hughes movie is just so questionable now in our current society. But I just felt like I would have liked that to be less. Like, I really felt like she picked something that would hit Cleo in a really core wound kind of way. In a really, like she knew the thing that would cut Cleo in her soul. And she went for that. And everybody laughed about it. And nobody ever, like, acknowledged that, like, I took that too far. That was wrong. And like I said, I might be overthinking it, but if she had done something like cast a spell that there's a stain on Cleo's new dress or something like that, then it could have been like Cleo being like, oh my God, I just got these wraps or something. And she could have been pissed off, but not traumatized and humiliated like the way she was. And so that was weird for me. That's just a couple of moments that, but overall, I liked the movie. I liked the dads. I liked that the dads were the parents in the movie and not moms, because dads get the short stick a lot of the time. And in movies, when, you know, nowadays dads are extremely involved in the lives of their children. So I liked that. And I would love it if they would continue this story, but I don't think they're going to, unless this movie is extremely successful, and which I hope it will be, because I want to see more. I want to see what happens next year. And I want to see Frankie's character continue to grow and learn new things, and for them to evolve. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really. Other than my little nitpickies, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm really excited now on October 28th to see the animated movie, or the animated show. Well, it's not a movie, it's an animated series. Very much looking forward to seeing that, because that looks really funny and cute. And I laughed when I saw the trailer when we were out at the Mattel offices. It's really cute, and I love the animation, and I think the voices are really cute in the animated series. So I'm really happy that our monsters are back, and I'm really excited. So I would love to hear everyone's thoughts down below. Let me know if I'm overthinking those couple of things that I pointed out. And I have a lot more Monster High content coming, because Monster High, oh my God. And it's just really excited, and I can't wait to share it with you. And it's so wonderful to know that a new generation is going to fall in love with this franchise, and I'm really excited. And I think that I think they did a really great job of honoring the legacy of Monster High. Love you all so much, and I will see you again real soon. Love you. Bye.